If you're an empath, you identify the feeling. You are the designated repairer, the supplier, the one who's always absorbing everyone else's emotional static. You forgive, you bend, you understand. But what transpires when you ultimately halt? What transpires when the person who has carried everyone else's pain ultimately decides to set it down? In that second, the complete dynamic inverts. The person who always appeared powerless abruptly finds their footing. The game that seemed rigged from the outset begins to fail. And the narcissist who built their entire plan around your predictability abruptly finds themselves staring into a reflection they cannot handle. This is not about you becoming cruel. This is not about an empath turning into the monster they resisted. This concerns an awakening. This is you, the empath, ultimately embracing your hidden power and discovering your balance. This is the second when your quiet becomes your strength. Your boundaries become unshakable, and you at last, find the freedom that was always inside you. For every empath, there is a second when the world just lands differently. That profound calling you've always felt to mend, to give, to love, suddenly begins to feel less like a purpose and more like a heavy burden. You've spent years providing compassion to people who see it as a free supply, and you ultimately hit a barrier. It is not a sudden snap. It's a slow understanding that feels entirely irreversible. This pivot point isn't produced by anger. It's produced by exhaustion. It is the deep tiredness that comes from perpetually pouring from your own cup until it is not just drained, it is fractured. It's that feeling after a single 1-hour phone conversation with an energy vampire friend where you just absorbed their rant and now you feel like you require a 3-day rest. That is not just being courteous. For an empath, that's an energy deficit. The heart that was once wide open begins to sense something crucial has been gone. Not love, you have that in plenty. What has been gone is balance. What has been gone is your own strength. Here is the fact. Empaths are not weak. You are incredibly strong. But that strength often gets concealed beneath layers of kindness and a deep dread of hurting anyone's feelings. This hidden strength is just waiting, remaining in the shadows until you are ultimately ready to claim it. The turning point arrives when you grasp that compassion without boundaries isn't compassion at all. It is self-betrayal. At this point, something profound changes. You realize that your greatest gift, your capacity to perceive everything so deeply, has also been your greatest liability, especially in the possession of those who desire control. The narcissist adores this openness. They prosper on your willingness to forgive, to understand, to be the bigger person. But eventually, the sequence becomes perfectly clear. You see that love without limits is just a clear invitation for manipulation. You see that forgiveness without consequences is just permission to harm. And that awareness is the start of your transformation. This is not about becoming cold. It is about reclaiming what you have lost. It is about understanding that for empathy to be real, it must go both ways. To genuinely honor others, you must first honor yourself. This is where you ultimately face that part of yourself you have kept confined. This is the hidden you, the part that is strong, assertive, and completely fearless of conflict. It is the part that says no and doesn't follow it with a long apology. The part that withdraws its energy when a boundary is breached. The part that refuses to carry someone else's emotional burdens as if they were your own. You always believed this side was mean or dangerous, but now you perceive it differently. You see that without this strength, your empathy is just a vulnerability. But with it, your empathy becomes wisdom. It is not an easy change. Initially, you feel immense guilt. Withdrawing your energy feels wrong. Letting silence do the work instead of endless justifications feels unnatural. You will even ask, Am I becoming just like them? But you will quickly see the distinction. The narcissist uses tactics to control and dominate. You are now selecting your actions to protect and restore balance. They act from a place of fear and emptiness. You are acting from a place of truth and self-preservation. That distinction is everything. The second this internal change happens, the world around you changes. Those who fed on your energy become odd. They feel unsettled. They cannot understand why their usual routine isn't successful. It's like a villain in a movie who keeps speaking their evil monologue only to realize the hero has already left the room to get a sandwich. They send that passive-aggressive text designed to provoke you, and you just leave it on read. The silence is deafening to them, but for you, it is the first taste of freedom. For the first time, you are not chained to someone else's approval. You are not trapped in the give and take, the give and give cycle. You are no longer a predictable all-you-can-eat buffet of emotional energy. You do not need to abandon your sensitivity to protect yourself. You just need to honor it with the strength that was always present. This is when the empath stops being defined by sacrifice and starts being defined by wholeness. True compassion includes you. And from this place of balance, you no longer fear the narcissist's games. Because now you hold both the light and the shadow, both the love and the strength. And that is what makes you, the empath, truly unbreakable. This liberation isn't loud. It's a quiet, stable, and unshakable peace. You recognize your power was never in trying to change them. It was in refusing to be consumed by them. The only question left is, are you ready to use it?